I grew up in the city of Gaza, surrounded with lots of challenges and lots of political issues. In the summer 2014, there were like a big aggressive over Gaza. When that attack started, I decided to join the ambulance unit. So I lived or stayed with them for 51 days. Through that time, I experienced lots of things, new things, lots of sad things, lots of blood and tragedy. Of course, to see your people in this situation is really hard. That's why that encouraged me to make my first feature documentary, which is called Ambulance, which is about my story being with an ambulance unit for the 51 days of the Israeli attacks over Gaza.
I work for an organization called Tactical Tech based in Berlin, and I guess we come from a slightly different background. I think one thing which interests me about Palestine, and particularly Gaza, is it's actually quite an artistically vibrant place. And I'm just wondering how that happens as a place under such extreme political, economic pressure. How do people find room in their lives for art?
I mean, it's really, it's a good point, because, to grow up in all this, surrounding, circumstances, it's really difficult to be able to create. If you want to look to the society, look to the artist on this society. And actually, Gaza and Palestine, we have lots of artists, and we are all over the diaspora and all over the world. And that's a way of resistance, I would say.
We find it incredibly powerful using art as a means and almost like a tool. So I think artists have a license in a way to explore things and ask questions that people don't normally ask. I think what we see in the work that we do is that when we present people with art objects, we can kind of, in a way, unbalance them a little bit. You kind of push them off-center, so they're forced to reappraise things, and it opens up this space in which you can really start challenging people's assumptions.
I mean, yesterday we were discussing how technology is helping migrants. For example, if we will see the Mexican border through both sides, how they use this technology to cross, and how, as well, the other side is controlling and monitoring.
We work with an artist based here in Barcelona, Joanna Moll, and she does a piece called Technopatriots, and it explores this idea of digital vigilantes on the Mexican border. It looks at these webcams, and basically people log on to keep an eye on the border, and if they see a Mexican person jumping over, then they call the authorities. These ideas of borders, the fringes and the fortressing, we kind of like to think of the digital sphere as being outside and transcending time and space, and it's a very real physical, geographical reality for so many people in the world. But it is it's an architecture of human control. We pretend in some ways, particularly in Europe and North America, that we have some kind of economic freedom, but the reality is we enforce it at the borders. This is, I think, one of the it's one of the ugly dimensions, I think, of our global architecture.
And in the end, we all meet somehow in a places where we can hopefully try to find an understanding for what we are doing and what we are making.
When you're looking at these issues and you look at the sort of global environment, it's I think easy for some people to think that art in those situations is kind of irrelevant, that it's kind of like a side issue, that this is almost an indulgence. But actually, in those sort of contexts, art becomes actually essential. It becomes a humanizing tool.